There we go. How's it going, everybody? Coach Early here. This is third period networking class, and it is April 27th. It is a Monday morning, and we are so happy to have you guys with us. We are going over our mock curriculum, and we are very thankful to have Ms. Johnson and Ms. Castro with us. Ms. Johnson, Ms. Castro, say hi, please.
Hey.
Awesome.
Morning, guys.
Thank you. Like I said, we're so glad to have you guys with us. And so the reason why we're having this Zoom meeting is because we want to go over the importance of having a strong resume and having a strong job interview when it comes to interviewing for a new position. It's a skill that not many people go through during high school, and then by the time they either go to college or enter the workforce, they don't have these soft skills necessary. Even if they're technologically sound and they're educated academic wise, they don't have these soft skills to be able to interview. And so that's why we've asked you guys as professionals to come and join us. So first off, if I can ask you guys the importance of a strong resume. Do you guys have any do's and don'ts for resume writing, or just give us your opinion on what you think a strong resume is, or any tips that you can give our students?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I can't see you, Whitney. I don't have that gallery view, so.
Okay.
I think for me, sometimes you guys tend to make the resumes maybe not so much at your age if you don't have a lot of experience, but kind of keep it short and sweet. Some people tend to overindulge. They give too much information. Don't include too much personal information. Keep it kind of factual, education-based, experience-based, kind of short, sweet, and to the point. When you guys are applying for jobs, you've got to remember these employers are looking through hundreds upon hundreds of resumes, so they don't have a lot of time to go through a 3-page resume. So for me, that would probably be at the top of my list of, I don't know if you want to say do's or don'ts, but yeah, keep it short, sweet, and factual.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially if you don't have a lot of experience under your belt. If you haven't worked, you can work on adding anything that's relevant. You may not think it is, but it probably is. Things that you've done, whether it's volunteering at school, things like that, all of that counts. It doesn't have to come specifically from a job. It can come from other sources that you've done, because I know when I'm hiring, I know a lot of people that I work with, they don't have any experience. They're coming directly out of school. So just knowing that you're able to show up to work on time, things like that, that does make a difference. If you volunteered, if you've worked with your parents, things like that, you can put all of that in there. You just have to word it according to whatever job you're going for.
Right.
Awesome. Perfect.
You know, I was going to say, make sure you don't have any typos.
Oh, yes,
there's
please.
nothing, yeah, more distracting to me than if I look at a resume and it's just full of misspelled words, improper capitalization. So just make sure that it doesn't contain a whole lot of typos. And I'm going to tell you too, and I was going to put this at the end, and I'm sure Whitney also is available, maybe sometime towards the end. Mr. Early can post our email addresses. So if any of you are currently looking for jobs and would like us to review your resume, kind of edit it for you and send it back, I know I'm personally available to do that. So maybe Early can push out our email addresses to you guys if you need that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could do the one-on-one interviews as well, so you can practice as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Good stuff. And if I can reiterate, especially as somebody who's not great with spelling, spell check is your friend. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because what ends up happening is people at your job think that you have a lack of attention to detail if you do have those types of spelling typos and mistakes in your resume when you go to apply. So you want your employer to know that you do pay attention to detail and you won't make those same small mistakes on the job. Moving into the next part, if you guys can go over any interview tips and tricks, and this is for like the physical interview, because, you know, having a strong resume is one thing, but being able to compose yourself when you're actually going in for your interview is just as important, because that's your first impression on somebody, and a bad first impression can leave a negative taste in their mouth. So can you guys touch on that?
So I guess I'll start on that one, since I do a lot more of that actually and see some pretty interesting things. I would say the biggest thing, first off, make sure you either arrive on time or at least 10 to 15 minutes early. It drives me crazy when people show up late. Making eye contact, a handshake. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it really does make a difference. When you're interviewing, some people will come in and sit in the chair and just lounge back like they're at home. I'm surprised they don't put their feet up on the table. So just making sure you have good posture, not leaning forward like at the person, things like that. Just basic things you think that you would know, but you really have to pay attention to it when you are in an interview. Those are things that happen way more than you would expect.
Yeah, I have to agree. That first impression, making a strong, confident first impression is extremely important. Something that goes right along with that is making sure that you are dressed appropriately. Dress for the job that you want, dress above. Even if you're just going in for an interview, say at a fast food restaurant, that doesn't mean you walk in jeans and a t-shirt and your Vans. Don't do it. Still put on slacks, put on a button-up shirt, show up as if it means something to you. I've done many, many interviews in my life, and too many times I see people come in just not dressed. They call it, you've heard us all say, dress for success. It matters. I'm going to look at you. We're all looking at you, kind of judging you based on your first impression. So the way that you greet us, the way that you're dressed, making sure your hygiene is up to par, brush your hair. They all seem like basic common sense things, but you'd be surprised how many adults I've had walk into an interview and I really just want to tell them, just turn back around and go out the door because this isn't going to work. So definitely dress appropriately.
True.
And it's awesome because normally you don't get this type of education within school, and so you don't think of these things, and that's why people go into these job interviews without knowing that, how I smell walking into a job interview could turn me off of that potential job, or if I smell too strong, too much perfume.
Yeah,
I'm cutting it short. We're not. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get into the big elephant in the room, and this has come out more recently within the past couple of years. Back in my day, I'm dating myself, I didn't have to worry about this as much, but social media when applying for a job. I know it's a broad topic, so I'm gonna give you guys a full spectrum to speak on that, on what you think, how social media relates into job searches.
I'm going to stalk you. So if you come in for an interview with me, just know I'm going to check you out before you walk in the door.
Yep.
And I've found that many of you, especially as high schoolers, you think we can't find you. Oh, my settings are private. It's this, is that. Well, guess what? Whitney and I both have kids. So y'all have friends in common. We're going to find you.
Yeah.
And we're not the only people in that situation. So just know that if you are out there and you're applying for jobs, people are definitely going to look. I'm going to look at Twitter. I'm going to look at Instagram. I'm going to look at Facebook. I know you guys think that Snapchats are private, but like I said, y'all accept anybody and everybody. So, people have fake. You don't know what lengths employers are going to really check you out. So just be very, very careful. Be appropriate. And if you need to, I know some of us as professionals don't care to share our personal lives. Create a professional Facebook page. Create a professional LinkedIn, keep it clean, don't post your weekend activities on there, keep the posting to a minimum, and let that serve as your professional social media if need be, and then keep your private social media account private. Maybe change the name up on it, whatever you need to do, but just make sure that you are not posting inappropriate content that an employer can see, because it will cost you a job. I've seen it happen hundreds of times.
Yeah, no, I research everyone, unfortunately, because with especially one of my jobs, I also help out at the detention center. So unfortunately, with all of that background history and what I do research people to make sure, like she said, that, you're not out doing crazy stuff, then coming into work or bad mouthing an old boss,
That's
a
a big
teacher, a company, something like that. All of that you can see. If you are completely blocked, some employers, I will tell you, that's a red flag as well. So having everything completely blocked means that you're hiding something. So like she mentioned, I have 2 accounts for certain reasons, because business is business, but both of mine aren't completely private. So That is a big thing because we do look into it, and there has been some employers that I've worked with that they have said no just because of something they saw online. So that's a big deal, and it's very, very, very easy to find it. Very.
It is. It's easier than you guys think. And you guys are into some IT and technical classes, so you should know that there are ways of finding information, especially now, if people want to find information. So I know it seems cool right now and it's all fun and everything like that, but really think twice about what you're posting.
I definitely agree 100%. And another thing that I know I want to touch on as well, because I see it as a football coach with recruiting. When you retweet something or you repost something, that's you endorsing that statement. So I've seen times where an athlete has maybe reposted or retweeted a song lyric that comes from an artist, and all of a sudden that person is being vilified by that statement. It's like, well, I was just retweeting the song. I like the song. Well, no, once you go on ahead and hit that retweet button, that's you endorsing it, and people are going to attach that to you. It's going to pop up on your social media, and it's going to be just the same as if you had said it. So a lot of misogynistic things, a lot of song lyrics with bad language in it, stuff like that can also be seen and can go into how your employer views your profile whenever you go to apply for a job. So I want you guys to be mindful that when you do have that professional profile, that you're not retweeting song lyrics just because you like an artist, or retweeting stuff that could be inappropriate, because they will
Yeah,
hold you
even
accountable for that.
political content sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's perfect. Yeah, excellent.
Be careful with the political content if any of you guys are into that.
And I mean, that's your privilege, or that's your right, to have your own, political affiliation and your thoughts, but you don't necessarily have to share that with anybody else. And I wouldn't let anybody demand that I share my social or my political beliefs as well. And just know that, I mean, there's freedom of speech. You can, put out what you want politically, but there's also consequences for your free speech. So if somebody decides not to hire you based on your political affiliation, I don't think there's really anything that you can do about that, so it could be better to keep it to yourself.
Yeah, even just things like I know people will frequently, if you don't agree with our president or some of his viewpoints, people will share posts bashing the president. That it's not a good idea. It's just not professional. Again, it's your freedom of speech. You have every right to feel how you feel. However, just be very careful about what you share and how it's maybe worded, because some of it can look hostile. Some of it, people may just look on and go, yeah, for our workplace, that might be a bit too much. So just keep those things in mind.
Definitely. Perfect. Excellent point. So I want to go on ahead and segue into what you guys look for when you go into, or when a person comes in for an interview. Is there anything in particular, like the first thing when they walk in the door, what do you look for? Even if we've covered it before, you can go over it one more time so we can emphasize the importance on it.
So for me, when I'm interviewing, so one of the things that I specifically interview for is a warehouse position. So making sure, and just in general, when somebody comes in, making sure that when I ask them, why did you apply for this job? Or what interests you about this job? Well, I just need money, and I just thought, probably not going to make me want to continue any further. So obviously everyone needs money. Everyone needs a job. That's how you survive, but that shouldn't be why you're applying for that specific job. I don't want you to just do it and not want to be there. So maybe just showing a little bit of enthusiasm, or research the company that you're going for. Don't talk negatively about it. That's usually what I look for, just to see if it's something that they're even into, or if they're just there because mommy and daddy made them come, or somebody else made them come. I'm not trying to force anybody to be there. So that's one thing I look for up front, I would say.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm really looking also, I don't need the person with the most experience, but I want you to come in with a positive, upbeat attitude. I want to know that you're teachable, that you're willing to learn. And I need you to be personable. So I want someone that I know is going to come in every day into whatever position we're hiring for with a positive attitude. You're going to come ready to work, ready to learn, and you're going to get along with your coworkers. So I need to be able to have a conversation with you. I need you to be personable, and kind of like Whitney said, I just need to feel like you want to be there and you're willing to learn, and I just need to feel like you're going to, fit into the work environment. So I guess just that positive attitude. I need you to come in with that positive attitude and willingness to work. Skills can be taught, but your attitude really isn't going to change. So that's important for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Excellent.
being dependable, showing up on time. Yeah, like she said, I can't teach you that. I'm not your mom. I can't come wake you up to get to work, but I can teach you a skill, but I cannot teach you that.
Awesome, awesome. And I just wanted to ask, I know it varies from person to person, whoever's interviewing, but is there such thing as showing up too early for an interview?
I'm gonna say yes, because if I'm not even prepared and you're already there at 7:45, yes. That's why I usually say 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to
So
15 minutes, perfect.
I
usually
agree.
people schedule, I know I do, in 30-minute blocks or hour blocks, depending on what I'm doing. So if I tell you a certain time and you show up 30 minutes, 45 minutes early, I probably already have someone else. So then I feel bad having somebody wait, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I say 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So before we close up, I just wanted to reach out to you guys because I know we're in a new area, something that we've never been in before with the COVID-19 and the social isolation and social distancing. How do you guys think social isolation or social distancing will affect job interviews in the future? Do you think there will be more of an emphasis on having remote interviews through Zoom or through Microsoft Teams? Or can you guys give me your opinion on that?
I mean, I don't know about you, Kelly, but I've already started it. We had this technology with Spirion well before all of this started. We had the capability of doing video interviews and things like that. So personally, I prefer the face-to-face. That's just me. I can't really tell a person over a video, but it does allow us right now that access to still interview people. But I will tell you, I have noticed a lot of companies, now that they were forced into doing it this way, some of them, I think they're going to reevaluate the way that they do certain things. Individuals maybe being able to work from home a little bit more, doing more things online, whether it's meetings, whether it's interviews, whether it's the paperwork needed to hire somebody, things like that, that I already see changing significantly now that everyone's been forced to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to say, too, there are a couple of companies, even before all of this started. I'll use, for example, Capital One. They have a lot of work at home positions and they have in office positions. But when you apply to them, the first thing you go through is a series of interviews. And then there's a short phone interview, which is more like a questionnaire. And then they actually do a video interview. So some companies had already been utilizing stuff like this. And really, they're using that as a first impression to try and determine if they even want to have you come in for a face-to-face interview. So I do agree with Whitney completely. I think you are going to see more companies using technology. You might have more phone interviews, video interviews. And I will say it's hard to do an interview on the phone. I definitely prefer face-to-face. However, if you are asked to do a phone interview, you need to still portray that positivity over the phone in your tone of voice. There needs to be some excitement there. It can't just be like, hi, yes, no. You still need to give educated answers as if you were sitting in front of the person. So don't take a phone interview any less serious than you would an interview, that you're going to inside of an office or face to face. Definitely don't underestimate the importance of those.
And if you're doing a video interview, please do not walk me around your house in your PJs. This happened the other day. I'm not making this up. And show me your whole home and your PJs. Like, pay attention. Go in a separate room, whatever needs to be done. Put on a shirt at least. And make that time, whether it's 10, 15 minutes to sit down and dedicate it to the interview.
I agree
Yeah, try to make it a
wholeheartedly.
quiet space. If you have siblings, even if you need to sit outside, I would rather you be sitting outside, focused on what we're discussing, than walking around and I hear, we all have dogs that bark in the background and stuff, but you just have to work around those things and make sure that you have a as professional, quiet place to speak to whoever you're speaking to as possible.
Excellent, excellent, excellent content. I thank you guys so much for that, because I want our students to be prepared to know that this could be the future, and this could be something that you need to be prepared for, rather than being caught off guard and all of a sudden having these distractions going on in the background. Speaking of backgrounds, like, I know solid backgrounds are a good thing. You don't want to sit in the bathroom and have your bathroom mirror and your toilet paper in the
Please
setting
on
behind
the
you as
toilet.
well.
Don't do
So
that.
yeah.
Don't
So
do it.
so it's really good that you guys get the opportunity to know that this could be something of the future. So go on ahead and get yourself well versed in it. Right now, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Everybody else, please leave your mics muted. Type a 1 in the chat if you have a question, and then I'll call on you all one by one, and I'll have you release the mic so everything doesn't get too loud. So I'm going to open it up for that. And I mean, it seems like you guys covered the majority of everything that we've talked about and that we've gone over. Mr. Henley, go on ahead. You can unmute your mic and you can ask your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to thank you both for showing up tonight, or today, I'm sorry. My main question was, I was given a very good tip for interviews, was to try and be always try and say that I'm trying to learn a certain skill or becoming motivated to try and learn something. How valued do you feel that is for the interviewer to try and approach them on that, trying to get an education in that certain field or?
I would.
I mean,
You can go ahead, Kelly.
go ahead. All right. I was going to say, I definitely want to know where your passion lies, what your goals are, what you're working towards. So yeah, absolutely. If you have a certain skill that you're focusing on and you feel like it applies to the job you're applying to, I would absolutely want to know about that, because that's going to be valuable to me as an employer.
Yeah, and I would say with some of the interviewing that I do, if there's a specific skill, let's say like welding or IT that you want to get into within the company, you may not be able to start there, but your goal is to learn that. If I know that in advance, my goal is going to be to get you to that level. So getting you trained up to the level that you want to be at. So yeah, it does help to know that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to throw in, and I think it was mentioned earlier, that sometimes skills can cross over. So I know we've talked about in class, we're in an IT class, but not everybody necessarily wants to go into information technology later on in the career or in college path. But having skills with computers and knowing how to repair computers could help in another job setting. So you could be going into healthcare and say, well, I know how to program the tablets that we use when we go and we check on our patients. Or you could apply for a police officer and say, well, I've got skills in troubleshooting computers, so when I ride with the laptop in the car, I know how to troubleshoot my machine. These skills can also apply over. So stating what skills you have and what skills that you're working towards in the future is never a bad thing. Mr. Allison, it looks like okay, you're having issues with your volume. So do we have any more questions or any more comments? That looks like it. Well, Ms. Castro, Ms. Johnson, I appreciate you guys so much for sharing your expertise with us. Sorry to take the time out of your day, but we appreciate you guys investing in our program. Thank you.
No problem. Like Kelly said, if anyone
No
has any
problem.
questions or needs help with their resume or anything like that, give them our email.
I will
Yep.
post that contact info in our assignment. Also, Ms. Johnson, I want to say you had you have a job opening at your establishment, right? Am I?
I do. At the warehouse, we are actually hiring individuals. We were doing an internship program with a lot of the students at Nature Coast. You do have to be 18 for liability reasons, but they're willing to train. They have a bunch of different departments. Usually you do start on the floor, but they have AutoCAD that people have trained up to. They have an IT department. They have a customer service department, but most of the positions are starting in the warehouse, but they are willing to train someone with no experience. So I'll send you the information if anyone's interested. I'm willing to sit down with them.
Well, definitely, yeah. Kids, you guys can contact me, and I will definitely pass you on. And let me tell you, if they're training on AutoCAD, that is incredible because when you talk about AutoCAD, it's like 3D design. You're talking about architecture. You're talking about manufacturing. There are all types of things that you can do with AutoCAD. I've got a friend who was a former English teacher, and he knows AutoCAD, and he's driving around in the newest Tesla because they pay good money if you know auto. And all you have to do is know the program because there's such a need for people who know how to work in the program. So yeah, well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for your time. I won't keep you all any longer, and I will go on ahead